Oh, yeah. Let's have a good day today, guys. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. We're going to start with Mike Johnson. Here's the theme song. Okay, we're going to change things up a little bit today. I do have my new turtleneck sweater from American Tall. No, they're not a sponsor of this show. This is the weirdest clip I could find of Speaker Mike Johnson and Rep. Madeline Dean.
The president is unhinged. He is unwell. What are you doing? A lot of folks
on your side are too. I don't control.
Oh my God, please. That performance in front of the generals, I didn't see it. Is so dangerous.
Trump's performance in front of the generals is so dangerous. First of all, what is she wearing? Is she naked? And why does she look at her in the composition of this shot? I love it. She's got him pinned against a wall. This is like, it looks like his naked ex-wife has pinned him and she's all in his face and he's up against the wall here and she's half naked. I don't understand this clip, but she's here to tell him that Trump, your leader, is terrible and unhinged.
You know I serve on foreign affairs and appropriations. This is a collision of those two things. Our allies are looking elsewhere. Our enemies are laughing.
I just left
you have a president who is unwell.
You have a president who's unwell. They're going with the Trump is nuts thing. But you know, you're half naked. Or is that one of those tan colored coats and just stuck to her flesh? I don't know. I try not to dwell on these things. This is about marketing. This whole episode is going to be about who is penetrating into the market of everyone's minds. Are the Democrats winning or the Republicans winning about the shutdown? There's a lot of artistry to this. Some of it's also just kind of brutal. They use memes. It has to do with that, with the sombrero on Hakeem Jeffries. That is marketing. It's meme work. And they put these messages out. So this is the last message on the Democrats are giving health care to illegals. And this is how the Republicans largely have won it. This is open and shut case. They're going to the shut care. This Democrat lady saying, why are Democrats want to fund medical for illegals? And then their counter brand is not one, illegal has gotten Medicare, and we're not for that at all. That's a giant lie. That was their counter narrative. Here they are losing that argument in one 40-second clip.
I haven't heard anybody in my party saying that illegal immigrants should get access to the health insurance marketplace.
I'm so glad you said that. Actually, I have some tape of your Democratic Party members saying this on the debate stage. So they've all said it. Let's play the clip.
A lot of you have been talking tonight about these government health care plans that you've proposed in one form or another. This is a show of hands question, and hold them up for a moment so people can see. Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Okay. That's all of them. That's all of them. They're all on stage. Kamala Harris is in there too. That's back when she got 2% of the vote and they still decided to make her the vice president for Biden. Anyways.
Senator, that's literally every member of your party, from moderate to more progressive, that have said that in the past.
I haven't heard anybody in my...
Why? I want to know why every one of these Democrats were so proud during this debate to put up their hand. When you put up your hand, it's like a vow, right? You're in public going, this is who will give benefits to undocumented illegal aliens, illegal Americans. Every hand goes up. Bernie Sanders. They're proud. They're going, we will stand with you. Jose, Muhammad, name the person from another country. I don't know who's from France. Jacques, we stand with, if you're here illegal, we stand with you. We vow to you. And now it's like, where'd everybody go? Isn't this when the illegals need the Democrats to really stand with them? When it really costs you something, it could cost you everything. That's what you put your hand up and vow. If I vow to a friend, I go, I stand with you, even if someone threatens to cut off my finger. I stand with you, even if someone fires me from a job. That's what you put up your hand and vow. And Democrats, every Democrat, yes, healthcare for illegals. Now, we don't give one flick. We would never. And this is why they lost the argument. We're going to get into more of how they lost the argument. But first, we're going to get to where the Republican Party is doing the next argument. What's the next stage in development? Scott Bessent's going to start with it. Is it Bessent or Bessent? I never know. And I really don't care. I love him. Okay. So I'm going to, it's better to quote him than to get his name right. By the way, we're going to start something today. I decided just today. Many of you are not getting your notifications about this show and you're complaining. You're going in the chat going, Doug, I don't see my notifications for your show. Part of the problem is, and guys, it's math. YouTube is not designed to deliver you 4 episodes a day. They will give you any watcher a maximum of 3 notifications a day. That means if I put out 4 videos, one of the 4 will not be given to all of my subscribers in their feed. It's not a conspiracy. It's not anything. It's just the way the YouTube thing works. They don't want to hammer people with too many messages from any one channel that puts out too much content. So it's simple. What I'm going to do, I'm still doing 4 videos a day, but 2 of them in the middle will be bound together. We're going to call it a double wide. So today it's right around the second video I'm going to do is going to be episode 2 and 3. We're still Quad Club, but it's only going to be 3 posts. The second one is going to be a double wide, twice as long. Same amount of news as the normal. I'm still doing the same amount of work, but it's going to be delivered to you 3 times a day. Maybe we start the Tri Club. I don't know. Here's Scott Bessent.
Step back for a minute and look how we got here. Chuck Schumer did the right thing in the spring and led the Senate to a clean CR. What we've got here is the House they have passed a clean CR. The Republicans have the votes in the Senate, and he will not allow his members to come across. And what's changed since then is it's his poll numbers. So the president, Vice President Vance, Speaker Johnson, Leader Thune, they're not negotiating with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. They're negotiating with Representative Ocasio-Cortez because she's nipping at his heels.
Okay, that is the new narrative. You guys probably heard this start being rolled out yesterday by the Republican Party, and I mean all of them. So they're united in message, but that is the counter now. First, it was you all want health care for illegal aliens, and that messaging is kind of 48 hours old, right? That's since October 1st, maybe the late September 29th, it started. This new one is AOC, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are not running the party, and AOC is the one that people have to really negotiate with. She's the real one in charge. That's the messaging. And you saw it yesterday, some of the news in that last video with Nancy Pelosi, they're going to her going, is AOC in charge of your party? And she said, no, AOC, she's good, but she's not in charge. The leader of this party is Hakeem Jeffries. Okay. So that's the argument now. I want you to watch it because you're going to see this all day. They're going, Chuck Schumer is not in charge of the party. It's AOC. And that's just branding. They have to stay on message and united. And then you got to see if it'll stick out in the public. Here's Speaker Johnson with the same thing.
Everybody wants to know, why would he do that? Because, gosh, Chuck Schumer's the leader of the Democrats. He's been in Washington for decades, and he's always gone out and given these long speeches about how government shutdowns are dangerous and selfish and destructive. Well, they still are, but he's changed his tune. Why? And here's the simple fact. Vice President J.D. Vance said it very clearly today. I've been saying it on interviews. Chuck Schumer is scared of his own shadow. He's afraid that AOC and the far left, base of his party is going to challenge him in his next Senate race.
AOC could run for Senate and take Chuck's seat. That's what they're saying. But the main thing is, whether if it's true or not, this is the message that we're going with. I'm willing to believe it's true. I'm fine with it. I'm a Republican. I'm here to push that message and continue to everyone out there. AOC is in charge of the Democrat Party. I just want to tell you my bias and my motive, and you can decide what you want. That's why it's important to me to pretend like I'm not going to come to you and say, I don't have a bias. You guys know I have a bias. I'm here to destroy the Democrat Party. All my news is revolved around that. I want them destroyed and demoralized. I want them voted out of office. I want them to lose every election. That's just the start. Any Republican, no matter how evil he is not as evil as the best Democrat. That's where I'm coming from. Is the message sticking? So now I'm a mass media artist. I do video games, very successful comic book career, animation career. Those are all mass media. It's when you say, how do I communicate with 50,000 people and, communicate with them. That's what I'm doing to you. I'm communicating with 50,000 people. How effective am I at penetrating, getting the message to you, you understanding what I'm saying, me help you follow an argument all the way through, help explain things. I'm a natural teacher, maybe. Does it work? Here's Just the News with John Solomon. We love him. I do have to do, this is something funny too. Just the News. What do you notice about this commercial they fed to me? Do you see it? This is an American Tall commercial. So it automatically, you guys know I've been buying these American Tall clothes, and see that jacket on the right there? See that green one? That's my new favorite jacket, the one that I wore the other day. I also got that brown one over there in extra large, the new one, but it was too big, so I'm sending it back. You can send it back. I like that. But look, if you guys want to look cool like me, if you want that jacket, I'm not a sponsor. I'm not making money by saying this, guys. I just love American Tall. I'm tall. I'm 6'8". I'm 6'8". I haven't been able to buy clothes for most of my life that fit, okay? Now I'm buying clothes that fit because I signed up for that chapter to do advertising. They hunted me. They said, Doug, we would love to have you represent our product. And I looked at what it paid and I said, okay, I'll do it, because it's not just the pay. I'm going to show you guys I do the ad read in the last show. I'm going to show you how they're helping you. I wanted a product where I could come to you. I make money. The company makes money, and they help you. That's my criteria. Anyways, if you're tall and you want to dress like a 6'8" freak like me, then look, there's the green jacket. That is my favorite jacket of all time. These are thin. These are made for fall, so it's not quite winter. It's just to cover your skin. Here's GOP shutdown messaging seems to resonate with the public for once. Now, remember, the GOP always had a problem with we were not in culture. We were not big in culture. We were nerds, right? We had the bad ties and the bad suit. And now we're starting to run culture a little more. This is written by Ben Whedon on the internet about why we are winning the shutdown debate. And we have convinced the public the Democrats don't want to fund the government because they're trying to get more money given to illegals, which I find as a mass media artist very fascinating. Though Republicans have traditionally been the party that received the most blame for government shutdowns, the GOP seems to have gained traction with the public this time, while it portrays the ongoing budget fight as unnecessary. The GOP's loudest message is that Democrats seek to fund illegal immigrant health care. The Senate on Tuesday failed to approve a continuing resolution to fund the government, despite multiple Democrats breaking ranks to join Republicans on the measure. It needed 60 votes to pass, but failed by a 55 to 45 margin. So by my count, we need 5 more Democrats to peel off and come. We've got Fetterman and some other reasonable centrist people. The shutdown took effect at midnight. President Trump and Vice President Vance have been at the forefront of the messaging for the shutdown, with both portraying the Democrats as primarily engineering the shutdown on behalf of non-citizens for political gain. That is a very good message. It was simple. Everyone got on board. It penetrated culture and it worked. While Democrats have insisted that they are fighting to lower healthcare costs and to restore funding that Republicans cut from federal programs, some data appears to suggest the Republican messages is hitting home. So that Democrat counter message of Republicans are trying to cut healthcare didn't penetrate, didn't work. There's a big part of this, guys, where the Democrats, they really lost something with doubling down on saying Biden was fine and saying the borders are secure when we were hemorrhaging people. They lost credibility. Guys, if I lose credibility with you, my audience will vanish. There's no reason to trust me. There's no reason to listen to me if I lose my credibility. The Democrat Party lost their credibility. They lied. They were caught lying to you and I. And the public, not only did the Democrat Party lie and get caught in a lie, the media that carried the message for 99% of the Democrat Party is all they did. They were complicit in that they carried the message to you without commentary and told you Biden was sharp as attack and fine, and nothing's going on at the border. The Republicans are evil and racist. That's why they lost the most powerful tool they have, which is credibility and a media microphone. And now the Republicans are standing up, and that's why you have Trump doing Hakeem Jeffries with a Mexican mustache and a sombrero standing next to Schumer, and it penetrates. The Trump dance. penetrated culture. I thought he overplayed the dance. I'm like, dude, do you have to keep doing it like 6 months after? Yeah, he's still doing it. The Republicans, we pound things into the ground long after they're funny. We're going to be doing the Hakeem Sombrero and still in a month. Okay. That's just kind of how we do it. Vance, for his part, leapt into the media arena on Wednesday, yesterday morning, to make the GOP's case and to substantiate the administration's claims that the Democrats sought to restore federal funding to illegal alien healthcare. So now we're moving on to the AOC messaging. By the way, here's an example of Democrat messaging. They brought Jasmine Crockett on CNN. Okay, give it your best shot. What are you going to make stick, lady?
That we had appropriated. So what assurances do we have if we entered into an agreement with these Republicans that they wouldn't go back on their word and just say, oh, yeah, we'll sign off on a rescissions package? Everything that the Democrats fought for, such as healthcare assurances around the Affordable Care Act, yeah, we'll make sure that that holds. We don't have any assurances.
We've seen that argument from other Democrats.
Too many words. Jasmine, go take a basic communications course. Too many words, too complicated. You have to write things at about a third grade reading level to penetrate all of the public. It has to get through all language barriers. It has to get through all forms of media. I don't know what she just said, guys. It sounded like, she was reading a parts list from my 2003 Honda Pilot user's manual. Whatever she said, it didn't work. Here's I'm just throwing in some extra news here just because I really like this argument. I know I threw Rand Paul under the bus yesterday, and I thought he makes a really good point here. Anytime I can promote, again, even a rhino or a grandstander like Rand Paul, who does not represent Kentucky's values in that he goes against Trump, even though he's still brilliant. And when he makes a good argument here with Stephanie Rule on MSNBC, I'm gonna show it to you. This is a real good learning thing. I think we can all learn from this. This is a value that I hold.
The indictment of former FBI Director Jim Comey, the president fired a prosecutor that he appointed for refusing to bring this indictment. Are you concerned at all about this and potentially the way the Justice Department is getting used in this space?
I think the best way to judge whether or not we're having true justice is whether or not you have the same standard, whether you judge people or adjudicate things on the same standard, whether it's Republicans or Democrats. During the Biden administration, they basically yanked Roger Stone out of his bed, put him up on charges for lying to Congress and also obstructing justice. These are the same accusations for James Comey. So either it was incorrect to go after Roger Stone or it's incorrect to go after James Comey. But if it's okay to go after Roger Stone and you're applying the same standard to James Comey.
But
that's the argument. We don't do two standards of judgment of justice. No one's above the law for Trump. No one's above the law for Comey. And this argument's going to get into a little more detail, but it's just going to repeat that same teaching. One standard of justice. By the way, if you don't have one standard of justice, it cannot be justice. If you don't have one law by which all people are held to, you do not have a law. If you don't have one rule by which everyone will be guided by, it is not a rule. So it's literally not a rule, a law, or justice if it only applies to Roger Stone, to one guy in the Trump department, and it does not apply to Comey. This is why it's important for Republicans to not back off of Comey, because if you allow Democrats to get away with a two-tiered system of justice, you're doing far more damage to the country. If you allow them to get away with it and say, and we're gentlemen, oftentimes the Republicans are too much of a gentleman. We also call them wussies sometimes. But if they go, we're people of the Constitution and the law, and when they do erect the law on Roger Stone, we never erect the law against Comey because we have to have our principles and our values. It's not a principle if you only apply it one way. Republicans, do you hear me? It's not a principle. If you let Comey off the hook and you try to be a gentleman, you're a sucker is what you are. It's like in a soccer game. If one team in a soccer game, they have two different sets of rules for the two teams. One team is allowed to use their hands and the other team can only use their feet. One team's allowed to use their feet and their hands, and the other team's allowed to use their feet. And the team that uses their hands and their feet win every game. Oh, and they're allowed to kick the other team in the nuts whenever they want. If that's how they're allowed to win, and you don't go and play that game on those same rules, you will lose your country, the republic, your children, your family, and the world. That's the warning. So it's time to play ball, guys. Cut off the gloves. If they're punching you in the face in a boxing ring and we wear gloves and they go bare knuckle, cut your gloves off and start throwing bare knuckle punches. Figuratively, proverbially, we never endorse violence.
I would say two things. They never had to fire any prosecutors to bring those charges against Roger Stone. And I believe at the time you took issue with what happened to Roger Stone. So do you take issue with what's happening to Jim Comey?
Yeah. I think you have to apply the same standard. So the same standard would be you wouldn't arrest Roger Stone, you probably wouldn't arrest James Comey. But what do you do when the standard has become, and the standard of lawfare, and all of the people who basically bent the law into pretzels to go after Donald Trump? I don't like the idea that that we're going to go with the same standard.
I do. I like the idea. He doesn't like it. I like it.
We should go back to a dispassionate standard.
Yeah, that's fantasy land, that we're going to go back to a dispassionate standard now. I believe in doing it when the Democrats win. We go back to a dispassionate standard. When they win, then we go back to no more lawfare. I just want to warn them, hey, no more lawfare, okay?
Doesn't judge people based on their party. But for all those on the left who are suddenly vocal, my question to them is, where were you when Roger Stone was arrested?
Oh, they were, that's relativism. Relativism, postmodernism. This is all the last 100 years ago, guys. This is Wittgenstein, Derrida, Foucault, Rousseau, all these people that say truth is personal. True for me, but not for thee. Rules apply, different standards for you than for me, because in the end, you cannot find the truth. And so we're all just going for power. So it's pragmatism, ends justify any means. Whatever I want power. I want power so I can pretend that justice is going after Roger Stone 1 year, and then it is making sure that no one goes after Comey another year. That is BS. That's not a civilization. And we're going. I am for. You must treat the Democrats with the same rule of law and standards as they did to us, not as an act of revenge, but as an act of respecting the law that we've lived under for 4 years. It's still the law. I'm Doug in Exile. Subscribe.